Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Yes, I cut my hair, and yes, I finished the first omnibus of I Am Hero. So I released the first volume just a few days ago, and I knew that I was not going to be able to put this book down, and I couldn't. So I finished it, second volume. Now each omnibus has 2 volumes in it. Initially, I thought that I was going to do volume by volume by how Japan released the series, but I think now I'm going to move into just doing the entire omnibus. There's 11 of them, and yes, I kind of bought most of them already, so you might see a haul later on showcasing all the I Am Hero books that I've gotten so far. But anyways, for now, second volume, the second half of the first omnibus. I'm going to be reviewing that today here in this channel. Before I continue, if you guys have not done so by now, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that bell button if you guys don't mind, and you'll be notified when I go live and upload videos. My goal of June is to reach 3,400 subscribers. I think it's possible. I think we can get there. I just need your support and your love, so please subscribe. Also, you guys can check out the first volume. It's like a few videos ago, not that. I think I released it on Saturday, so it's like 2 days ago. Go check it out, and then you guys can see this video as well. It's a great series, but it is a survival slash zombie slash horror slash suspense. So if you're not into those genres, this one might not be for you. Lastly, there is a spoiler alert because I will talk about the second volume, second half of the first omnibus in some detail. Okay, again, this is probably gonna be the last one where I actually review it by volume, and to be honest, the rightful way to even review this series would have been chapter by chapter. Now, it's just so much of it in each chapter that you could do that, but unfortunately, I'm not going to do that. I can't. It's just so much, so I'm going to review this. This one, the last one, as by volume, and then I'll review them by omnibus. But in a nutshell, the second volume compared to the first volume, complete a 360 on the gore as well as the nonsense of what's going on. So we left off with our hero, our protagonist Hideo. He's looking for Teko, his girlfriend, and she, as a reader, we know she's a zombie. Now he doesn't know that. Let's put ourselves in Hideo's shoes. He doesn't know what a zombie per se is, and all he knows is that Teko was feeling sick. So she immediately dashes to the door trying to attack him, and he's wondering, like, have you drank? Are you okay? Why are you acting so crazy? She pulls his head through the mail hole with, I think, one of her hands and one of her foot, and then she starts biting the door so hard that she janks all her teeth off her mouth. So basically it's all gum. Now that's very important to know that, but she essentially removes all her teeth, and then she seems to defend him. She picks her up. He's like, I'm gonna take you. Like, why you keep trying to nibble on me? And then another zombie shows up and she attacks it. And I think that's very important, I guess, in some way, because these zombies are different in some manners. She's able to word out, I love you, Hideo, as well as other stuff. She eventually attacks him so much, she leaves a huge bite mark on his hand, and he slits her throat. He understands that she is probably already dead, and he needs to kill her. So then he reacts and says, well, I need to go somewhere. So his first thing, or his first initial thought is to run to the police office. So he runs to the police office. Before getting there, he realizes that police officers are being attacked by these people, and then he jolts back and goes to his office. Now, in all this, there's people attacking people, him avoiding zombies, It's a chaos in the city, and eventually when he gets to the office, he finds one of his coworkers, just one, the heavier one who really loved to watch the reporters on TV. And anyways, he is about to kill their boss, and he kills him. He really goes at him, and he starts just yelling all this stuff like, "You kept me here in the bottom. Have disrespected my drafts, and you expected so much from us." And he's just killing him with a bat. Then he goes on explaining what happened, and he says that essentially he was infected because the girl that he liked, I think it was Mia, I believe it was her name, and it was the girl he likes, which it works with them. She would actually leave and then come back and sleep with the boss, and she was sleeping with him. And then the story goes on, and he's like, but that's not it, there was more. She was also sleeping with the jerk that worked next to me. Like, so she was sleeping with everyone except me, so he basically, he was in love with the office whore. And eventually the guy Hideo, he notices that there's another guy dead there on the floor, and then the girl Mia, she shows up, and that's a whole scene. Them trying to kill her is a whole scene. I want to explain what happens, but it's a whole scene. And eventually they're able to get out, and their plan is to run to the train station, because if they're still running, they could at least drive the train station to a less populated city. They are in one of the most populated cities, so they need to get out of there. They need to get to a low profile, low populated, not so many cases where they can actually hide, but also not so lonely where there's not enough resources. So anyways, they start running to the train, and this guy explains how he's like, well, out of the 5 of us in the office, 2 of them got infected, so there's not a there's a huge chance that there's going to be a huge chaos in the city. And that kind of triggers Hideo. He's like, wait, what do you mean 2? I thought it was 3 that got infected. And he's like, never mind that. So that tells us, like, this guy went and killed the other guy. He was probably still alive, a human. He ended up killing him. But anyways, not the point. He ends up dying himself. Very epic death. He gets bitten a few times, and then a freaking airplane snaps his head. He was going ballistic. He was killing people, or zombies really, and he was just running on adrenaline, and he just had a horrible death. But anyways, Hideo gets to the train, and essentially the omnibus ends with, in the train, at least in the part where he was, everyone was very, very much unknowing what's going on outside, and then the other section, people are getting bitten and killed, and that's how it ends, with them noticing that there's something wrong in the other part of the train. So in a nutshell, it's still great series. It didn't have the whole mystery, the whole slowness, the whole suspense built like the first volume. If I would have read this as a whole volume and not just an omnibus, and for those who don't understand the difference between a volume and an omnibus, omnibus are way thicker. I mean, they're very thick. As a book, usually it has 1 or 2 volumes. If you were to compare it to a regular, volume, you can definitely see there's 2 of them in there, right? So, and that's because in Japan, mangas are written where the first chapter typically is around 43 to 50 pages long, and then after that, each chapter is about 23, 19, 25, around that range. 19 to 25 pages long. So volumes end up being a certain size because they're created at a certain style, and Omnibus are just, you know, volumes of them. So anyways, but if I would have read this as a complete thing, I think that's why the US went on that route. It makes sense. You have this whole first part of suspense, and then you get to the whole gruesome part of the story where people are dying left and right. And I still think this is a great zombie series. A lot of the character development is amazing. The previous volume I spoke how Hideo had another kind of voice in his head that he would speak to. Well, that voice is kind of fading away, and I don't know if that's like his fear voice or if that's a comfort voice, but he's not able to see him anymore. But and when he hears him, it's kind of distorted. A lot of other stuff, like when he was looking at Teko and trying to figure out what's going on, you know, he read a letter of Teko, and Teko was she actually was becoming a better girlfriend. Like, you know, she was a horrible girlfriend, and how they ended was with him confessing to her that he hated how she was still speak to Nakata and all this and blah blah. Well, what she was doing was she was getting rid of all the stuff Nakata already. She was not communicating with him, and in her shelf, the only mangas that were there left was Hideo. She really was trying to change and be a better person for Hideo, and it was painful because at first I was like, well, you know, we knew she was gonna die because she was a horrible person, but she wasn't. She was still dealing with a breakup, I guess, and she was finally learning to let go and be the best girl she could be for Hideo, and yet she still died. And that stuff like that, where these characters are created in a matter of, man, they're human. They have their mistakes, but they also have, you know, the reasons why they do stuff, and the writer has done a great job in this series. So my 9 out of 10 still stands. I think it deserves it. Again, my next video probably won't happen in a while because I bought the next omnibus online, so I won't get into it in a week or two, and then by the time I read it. So, but when I do release it, I think I will still stand with my 9 out of 10, but we'll see. There's also a movie that released, I believe, in 2017 or 18, and I'm excited to see it once I finish the entire series though. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you haven't done so by now, make sure you comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your love and support. Get me to 3,400 as soon as possible, and check out my other videos. There's a bunch of volume reviews that you guys can see here in this channel. Thank you guys for your love and support, and again, like always, don't be strangers. See you guys.